Welcome back to more Let's Play Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Last time, we got acquainted with the game and, well, you promptly got a bit of a history lesson and a basic rundown of how things work, look, and sound. Pretty nice, if I do say so myself. Otherwise, today, we're going to continue doing what we do, exploring the namesake of the game, Castlevania. Now, otherwise today, there's one big major goal we need to accomplish, and that is getting the first big progression item. I won't spoil what it is, also hey, nice level up, but there are essentially, I want to say 8 or 9 main progression items that you need to be able to fully explore the entire game. So, the more of them you get, the better off you are. Most of the early game of Castlevania Symphony of the Night is collecting those items. The first 4 are the most important, though. With those, the rest of the game pretty much becomes your oyster and you can do as you want. So, I like to really go out of my way and try to collect those as quickly as possible. So hopefully, we'll be getting a couple of them today. There are also all sorts of optional items you can grab along the way, which I'll be doing my best. But for now, here we are, continuing on. Now, otherwise, I want to say too, we'll also get to fight another boss, maybe even 2 if I'm real quick, but at least 1. Ooh, a smart potion, very useful. Admittedly, a lot of the items that enemies drop I never use, but they can be really useful. For instance, let's take a look at some of them. So the shield potion increases defense for a bit. Alright, smart potion increases intelligence for a bit. Sure, could be useful in a boss fight. Potion restores some HP, and I want to say potions specifically aren't like food. You don't have to equip it and drop it, you simply equip it and then you use it. So, pretty nice. And then the iron ball, I believe this is a throwable and consumable item. Can be good in a pinch. If you're really struggling with this game, you might want to take a look at all the things you have because you might have some pretty useful things in your inventory you may not have even realized you picked up. Ooh, dagger. I think for now I'll keep a hold of the holy water. Overall, I just find it a little more useful. Otherwise, nice little save point. We won't use you right now, but we'll take the refill. Not that I think we needed it, but hey, could have been nice. And then otherwise, hear that? The sound of clocks. This game's sound design is so darn good. Ooh, and hey, there's a nice critical. That is partially what the luck stat does in this game. It affects your chance to critically hit, and it affects enemy drops. It's pretty darn useful. Also, I noticed that we have 54 MP, which means we have one of my favorite spells, Soul Steal. Basically, push left, and then push right, and then do a half circle back left, and then push right again and attack. You gotta be a little fast, but when you use it, you'll steal the soul of anything on screen. This includes not only attacks and candlesticks, but enemies as well. So, you'll be able to regain a lot of HP. This is one of the bread and butter moves that Alucard has in his arsenal to make sure you stay healthy. It can seriously help you in a pinch, and do not discount it. For reference too, anytime you cast a spell, you'll be able to see its input combination and just how much MP it uses here. So, here's all the ones we know so far. Soul Steal easily is the most useful spell in the game, so I would make sure to use it.
Wait a moment. You seem human, and yet, what do you here?
I've come to destroy this castle.
Then we have the same purpose. I'll trust you for now. I'm Maria. Who are you?
Alucard.
Not the talkative type, I can see. Well, perhaps we'll meet again, if you live that long. Farewell.
Ah, good old Maria. Now, for those of you who don't know, and I hinted at this a little bit in the first episode, this game is a sequel. Maria Renard was actually a little girl who was also a playable character in Castlevania Rondo of Blood or Dracula X, depending on the version you played. She was pretty darn powerful, and I believe even had a double jump, whereas Richter, it didn't really have that. So, it's cool seeing her all grown up in this game. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing her throughout a lot of the adventure, so get used to her. Another big thing I want to bring up too is the voice acting. I know a lot of people look at it as corny and cheesy, but it's part of what adds to the charm, isn't it? I mean, seriously, although some of the voices aren't, all that great, they're not some, serious anime or movie dialogue or anything like that, they have this style of their own that I think really adds to the game. I mean, seriously, Alucard sounds all cool and mysterious. Richter is this, badass hero who's, serious and stern with a sense of responsibility and duty. Maria is this, mysterious woman who you've never met. That sounds a bit like this, and it's all spooky. And, it's just cool. It adds to the overall feel of the game, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. Depending on the version you play, you may or may not have voice acting that's similar. Some versions change the voices completely, and that's a shame. Otherwise, we have 2 new sub-weapons here. First, the Bible. It allows you to make this little shield that doesn't fully protect you, but it's decently useful. Otherwise, we have what is my favorite sub-weapon, the stopwatch. It completely stops time for 5 seconds. This includes most enemies, most projectiles, some bosses, and a couple other random things that we may see later. It's one of the only sub-weapons that has a use outside of combat. Specifically, it's used in 2 rooms to solve a puzzle. So, just for that reason alone, I like to keep it on me just so that way I don't forget about it. But I also like to keep it around just so that way, if I need to stop time, collect my thoughts, maybe deal with an enemy, or even heal, I can. It's pretty useful. The biggest downside is that it uses a fair amount of MP or, the hearts, not magic. Otherwise, magically sealed. Remember that door all the way to the left before we fought our first boss? There was one of those doors there as well. That's in fact the first item we're trying to go get, is the thing that's used to open those doors. Also, leather shield, very nice. Reminding me I need to be backdashing a little more. But hey, speed isn't everything. Though, this is a fairly popular game to speedrun. So, if you're looking to learn a good game for going fast, there are worse out there. Otherwise, I have a bit of a fun story with this room. Or, the fun is a matter of perspective. In hindsight, it's funny, but at the time, it made me quite distraught when I first played the game. Now, originally, I played this game, I think back in 2011 on my Xbox 360, which I had just got for Christmas. This was a while ago, so, at the time, the 360 was one of the hot new consoles that every kid had to have, right? Now me, in my infinite wisdom, I said, no, I don't want that Call of Duty or the looter shooter Borderlands or anything like that, no. I want Castlevania Symphony of the Night, because I didn't have a PlayStation. So, this was the first way I played this game. Now, I remember getting to this point in the castle, and I was showing the game and the system off to my mother, because, she had gotten it for me. She was curious about it. You know, it was fun. And at about this part in the game, she ended up getting up, hitting the eject disc button, hitting the tray for the disc, and basically breaking the console to the point where we couldn't repair it. And let me tell you, that was one of the most disheartening things that, you know, me at the time had experienced of like, wow, here's, you know, this cool Christmas gift that I got, which I was super grateful for. And the person who got it for me just completely trashed it and more or less irreparably broke it. Because I believe it completely snapped the disc tray. So it wasn't even a matter of, oh, just pop the thing open and realign it. No, this thing was gone. So in her infinite wisdom, my mother just brought the console back and got a new one, saying that, you know, that one arrived broken. Whatever. I'm sure she gave the store clerk hell for it, but love you, Mom. Otherwise, let's keep going. It's just a fun little story that, you know, I wanted to share because it stands out. And here we are at the outer wall. I love this area. I like that you can see down below, outside, that this area is surrounded by a lake and, well, it's hard to tell, but forest. Notably, there's random weather effects that can happen. Right now, it's raining. Sometimes it's clear, other times it can rarely be foggy. It's pretty cool. Also, here's one of my favorite uses for the stopwatch. Huh? So yeah. It might be one of my favorite uses for it, but it's an enemy that isn't affected. Like I said, it doesn't affect every single enemy. And this is one of them. Still, he was nice enough to damage boost us past him into this nice little room of nothing. At least, what may seem like nothing. If you break away the wall, we can get a pot roast. Very useful. Still, it makes you wonder what it was doing here, doesn't it? I mean, come on. Who would have put that in the wall like that? I mean, seriously, it doesn't make much sense. But there's another little secret here. Huh? That's right. If you hold down, you enter this room and get the Jeweled Knuckle and Mirror Cuirass. The Jeweled Knuckle is an incredibly powerful early game weapon, more than doubling your damage at this point in the game. However, it is a fist weapon, so you gotta be a little careful because it doesn't have the range you might be used to. Otherwise, the Mirror Cuirass is pretty nice. It helps you resist being stoned, which the plant in that hallway could have done, and increases your defense. Pretty nice. Otherwise, we have the first instance of a Great. Mist could pass. That's an ability we'll be getting a bit later from now, but you can get these items early by doing that. Very useful. That's one of those little things you're not really supposed to know about, but if you do, man, is it useful. Also, my goodness, we're almost dead. Oh, careful. I'm gonna see if I can input Soul Steel here and heal up. Goodness. No. Be careful. No. I am almost literally playing with fire right now. This isn't a great scenario. Still, let's give our MP some time to come back. In fact, how much do we have? Ooh, 59, alright, not bad. There we go. And as you can see, it did a whole bunch of damage and got us some HP back. Now, I prematurely ended it there. Oh, golly. And I got hit again. Alright. Maybe let's swallow our pride and use the pot roast. There we go. After all, it's there to be used, so it's all good. And yeah, had he given us some of his nicer moves, he would have been easy to defeat. But hey, I'd rather not risk a game over and losing all of our progress, because this is a fairly classic game. If you game over, you go right to the title screen, no save, no continue, nothing. So, you gotta be careful and make sure that your gaming counts. Now, ultimately, not a lot of things are really gonna challenge you that much to where you should be careful, but there's some occasional situations where it might be a bit rough. Ooh, telescope. If we press up, we can take a little look. And my, what do we see? Why, it's an oarsman swimming across the lake. Very important. Now, make sure you see that because that will trigger something later on in the game. Pretty useful. Though, we don't know that, or at least we shouldn't know that. Still, I'm telling you now, it is useful. And hey, $100. Very nice. Now you might be wondering, we've been collecting all this money, what's it for? Well, as we'll see a bit later today, we will find shops throughout the game. Or well, really, you'll find one shop that you'll repeatedly return to. But it's useful, regardless. Point is, all this money is largely based on the points you used to get in the original Castlevanias. Just so happens they gave it a purpose in this game. Pretty nice. Now, in order to get the item we actually need to progress, you need $500. Which sounds like a lot, but if you've been just casually playing the game and collecting money, you probably have more than enough. After all, without going out of my way, we have 2,400 gold, so nothing to worry about. Otherwise, that doesn't look good. And boy oh boy, it's time for another boss fight. A pretty iconic one at that. Huh? Why, it's Alucard! Remember when I said time stop works on certain bosses? Yeah. Now, because I did that, we didn't get to see what he can do, but come on, it's kinda hilarious. And for beating him, you get the Gladius. Gladius, however you want to say it. Point is, it's a pretty good sword. If you weren't using the Jewel Knuckle at this point in the game, it's just a direct upgrade to the short sword. Pretty good. Still, I'm gonna keep on punching people. It just works, alright? Otherwise, an elevator that we can't use. Oh well, maybe at some point. And I say at some point knowing darn well that that's gonna be one of the things we unlock pretty soon. Now, you could go this way, which is to progress, but we want to unlock that elevator first because there are some perks. Otherwise, goodbye Donkey Kong. Goodbye Mr. Lancer. And, Axe Armor. Sorry there, pal. Mr. Archer Skeleton and skeletons with guns? Yeah, enemies in this game are packing heat, literally. And my, the first of 3 transformations for good old Alucard. That's the big thing that we want to grab while we're here. So, while I am ignoring some of the doors, don't worry, we'll be getting to them in a bit. After all, permanent upgrades are a little more important than, exploring some things that are out of our reach for a second. Otherwise, oh goodness. Well, let's activate the elevator. I also love the text that shows up there. It's one of the only times you ever see that. Now, if you're good at the game, unlike me, you can make this jump. Trust me, I've done it before. I'm not very good at it. So, let's instead of wasting our time hitting our heads against that, let's call up the elevator. All you gotta do is stand by it. And hey, there it is. And you get the Soul of Wolf. Now, by pressing the right trigger, you can turn into a dog. Now, it's not the best transformation, but it is notably quite fast. Your jump isn't fantastic, but if you hold up, you can jump a little higher. You kind of move a little slow, and you have a little bark bite attack. It's not a great transformation initially. However, it is useful for the fact that it's fast and it's pretty slim. So while Alucard has trouble jumping as a normal vampire, as a dog, getting items like that is a cinch. Otherwise, before we continue on, let's go all the way up here. And, no, we don't need the Bible. We'll keep our pocket watch. But we'll take a save. Very useful. A nice marker for all we've done. And man, I gotta say, I love the save animation. It's so cool. One thing, too, I haven't brought up. The save room beats like a heart. It's just one of those things that makes this game stand out and be so memorable. What other save room beats like a heart? I mean, come on. Anyways, back to the topic at hand. While we could go these ways, there's really nothing there for us right now, so I'm not gonna bother. Otherwise, you do want to go out of your way to enter this room. Because, well, it looks like you're going to a new area, you get this. If you press up, you teleport. And it brings you to this room. Which, if you remember, is where we saw that heart max upgrade. Very useful. We'll be using these teleports a whole bunch to get around. But for now, may as well grab it and unlock it for later. Trust me, it'll be useful. Otherwise, back we go, because we've got to do some shopping. But first, we got to make it to the shopkeeper, who happens to be located in, well, of all places, the library. Also, no, that's not the spell I wanted. What I want to do, I don't know if I have enough MP. There it is. Get a nice little soul steal, regain our HP, as I lose it instantly. Very good. Luckily, that's one thing about this game. A lot of the damage you take isn't super bad. Also, here we go. The long library. Here we will be able to find many useful items, but first, we must make our way past all these dastards. It only feels appropriate I talk like this in the library. I mean, come on. Anyways, enough of that. Now, there's really nothing this way right now, but we'll come back to it later in the game. For now, eyes on the prize. Which, hey, for anyone who's not played the game, you may not know what we're going after. I mean, I mentioned it earlier. We're going after an item to open those magic doors. But, for those who don't know, it's basically deeper in the library with the librarian, who is the game's merchant. Kind of weird, but, I mean, hey, it's another one of those little charming things that just kind of works. Beautiful. Excuse me, my good sir. Making sure to pick up lots of money along the way, so that way we can pay him for his services. Very important. And I mean, just look at some of this artwork. Yes, I'm talking about the sprites and all the things like that, but it's just beautiful. Not to mention, the music. I mean, look, they don't call it Symphony of the Night for no reason. This game has a phenomenal soundtrack, and man, it is just a pleasure to listen to.
It's been a long time, old one.
Oh, it's you, Master Alucard. What do you need?
I need your help.
Young Master, I cannot aid one who opposes the Master.
You won't go unrewarded.
Really? In that case, just tell me what you need.
Well, all right. Turns out you can buy help in this game.
I'm interested in this.
First things first, we picked up a Zircon. Its only use is to sell it, so may as well.
Thank you.
And yeah, get used to hearing that. Now, he has all sorts of things.
I'm
The enemy
interested in
list, which allows you to view all the enemies you fought, including Dracula, destroyed by Richter in 1792, 5 years ago. Kind of strange how it said 4 years in the intro, but 5 years here, but I'm not going to pick hairs over it. And yeah, you can see all the enemies that you fought. Pretty cool. The other nice thing is that you can see what items they drop, as well as things they're weak to, things they absorb, and things they're immune to. It's a pretty useful compendium. So while you may not think of it, it might avail you to just spend some time and see what's here. Otherwise, you can even see all the bosses you fought, like the Doppelganger, 10, for some reason. Don't know why it's 10, but maybe it's because he's level 10. Pretty cool. Now, you also have the tactics list.
In this.
This is where you can get tactics on how to basically efficiently fight every boss. Kind of weird that you can only get tactics on bosses you've fought, but let's show one off for the heck of it. Alright, pretty good. Now notably, I'm not playing. This is a pre-recorded movie. And he'll show off some secrets. These are things that we could have done earlier, but I very specifically didn't want to do them in the intro because it changes your stats. If you go up there and collect some of the items, you'll grab things that will affect your stats. Otherwise, if you notice, this Richter got over 41 hearts. Because he did that, Alucard's stats would change. He's also, I believe, going to basically just, fight him like normal and basically show off all of Richter's moves. This is one of the reasons I didn't really feel the need to go over this in the beginning of the game, because there's literally a movie that does it for me. Pretty convenient, huh? I mean, heck, it even lets me just focus on playing the game and not have to worry about focusing on fighting Dracula while I talk. Pretty nice. So yeah, he basically just shows off every move Richter can do, where a secret is, how to use certain sub-weapons, how to dodge things, and how to do pretty special moves. It's pretty awesome. These are things that if you played the original Rondo of Blood as Richter, you may not have known how to do because they weren't in the game. This is the first time the Belmonts have had powers like that. I also think it's interesting that he shows getting hit, but hey, if it works, it works. Yeah, he shows you how to do all the movement abilities of Richter. He shows you how to use the specials, the super weapons. It's pretty cool. Even, of course, it shows you how powerful Hydro Storm is. So yeah, there's a lot of cool things in this game like this, that if you're unsure of how to get through things, how to beat stuff, or maybe even just wonder how else a fight could have gone,
It cannot be!
the game will show you. At a price, of course. And thank you for screaming in our ear, Dracula. We love that. Now, obviously, these tactics cost money, but it's a one-time purchase, which is nice. Otherwise, you can sell gems, which we already did. Notably, those are the only items you can actually sell. So, don't go farming items that aren't gems, trying to sell them. It won't help you.
I'm interested in this.
But he has a whole bunch of things we can buy. Notably, the thing we're after, the Jewel of Open.
Thank you!
This is a relic. You need this to progress the game. So, don't be stingy and pick it up. Otherwise, he sells potions, anti-venoms, uncurses, hammers, which are used by a familiar, a magic missile, which is a consumable damage item, pretty cool, a Bwaka knife, which again, another consumable damage item, and the almighty library cards. These allow you to teleport here instantly from anywhere in the game.
Thank you! Thank you!
I like to make sure I have a number of these on me at all times because it makes backtracking a lot easier. He also has some weapons for sale. Pretty good stuff, I might add, but I mean, let's be honest, we really can't afford anything. So, it's cool to see what you can get. Now, notably, the reverse cloak and Joseph's cloak. Both of these cloaks unlock 2 of the menu items in the game. Also, the castle map.
Thank you!
Very useful.
Farewell for now!
So with the castle map, you can see a rough outline of all the major areas of the game. But make no mistake, this is not the entire map. far from it. If you only explore the areas that are shown here, you're not even going to cover half the game. So keep that in mind. Still, it's a nice checklist to keep in mind. Otherwise, whoopsies, my goodness, I'm going to do that a lot. Most capes and things don't do much, but the reverse cloak and Joseph's cloak unlock these two options here. I believe the first is the reverse cloak, which allows you to reverse the colors of the cloak. That's the entirety of what this button here does. Second one is Joseph's cloak, which I believe is a Bible reference to Joseph's cloak of many colors, something like that. And it allows you to customize a cloak with whatever colors you want. It's the second best cloak in the entire game. So if you want to lose a little bit of constitution to look pretty awesome, hey, knock yourself dead. Otherwise, that's everything we need here. So, let's keep on moving, shall we? And man, I mean, just look at that art in the background. All the different books, the statues, even another corridor. They really paint and make a world in this game that feels believable. Makes you wish you could explore all of it too. I mean, seriously, imagine seeing all this in like 3D. It would be awesome. Ow. I mean, look, literature can hurt. Who knew? Very nice. And up here, we receive the Fairy Scroll, which is another relic. It shows you enemy names. So, if you're fighting an enemy and you wonder what it drops, or you're having trouble with it, well, use the Fairy Scroll to tell you what you're dealing with. It's pretty useful. It's not maybe the most helpful item in the game, but it is useful. So, may as well grab it. Again, it's another completely optional relic that if you didn't want to grab for whatever reason, you don't have to. But hey, may as well. And here's the curse status. When you're cursed, trying to move or attack won't work. You can still backdash and jump, but you can't fight with either your hands. So basically, your left and right face buttons are completely disabled. In fact, worse than disabled. They make you stop and be unable to do anything. Ooh, here's the fog effect. Very cool. Now, for the next place we want to go, we actually want to take that teleport that we unlocked earlier. Because, ow, now that we have the Jewel of Open, we can open up those blue doors. Although we did see one earlier in the clock corridor, we'll get that a little bit later once we have all of our movement abilities. There's a much more convenient time to grab it, so don't worry. Otherwise, I think that'll do it for today. Next time we play Castlevania Symphony of the Night, we'll go get another very useful item. As always, I'm Brad. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.